Imagine a world where the unthinkable has just happened. It begins not with a loud explosion, but with a single message flashing across television screens and smartphones worldwide. Russia has crossed the red line. NATO's Article 5 has been triggered. For years, analysts, generals, and politicians warned that this moment could arrive. But when it finally does, it feels unreal. In that very instant, the fragile balance of global power shatters, and the countdown to World War III begins. The first few minutes are filled with disbelief. Families glued to their TVs watch as urgent red banners announce breaking news. A Russian strike has entered NATO territory. At first, many refused to accept it. Could it be a mistake? A false alarm, a miscalculation. But as confirmation pours in from multiple governments, doubt turns into panic. In capitals across Europe and America, emergency meetings are called. NATO leaders rush into underground command centers. Military satellites are redirected. Intelligence agencies move into wartime mode. Meanwhile, ordinary people feel the shift in the air. In Poland, Germany, and the Baltic states, sirens begin to wail. Civilians are told to shelter in place. Traffic jams clog highways as people instinctively try to flee major cities. Supermarkets are suddenly crowded, shelves stripped of bottled water, canned food, and batteries within hours. The uncertainty of what comes next is more terrifying than any weapon. People whisper, "Is this really the beginning of the end?" Inside the Kremlin, the Russian leadership frames its move as a defensive act, accusing NATO of crossing lines first. But the words are hollow to the world outside. NATO commanders already know that hesitation could mean disaster. Plans long kept in secrecy are unlocked. Fighter jets are scrambled from hidden bases. Nuclear submarines, always on silent patrol, receive coded messages placing them on highest alert. The machinery of war, silent for decades on this scale, begins to turn. For the first 12 hours, chaos defines everything. Governments rush to secure communications. Cyber attacks erupt almost instantly, targeting power grids, internet hubs, and financial systems in cities across Europe. Sudden blackouts plunge millions into darkness. ATMs fail. Banking apps stop working. Panic spread faster than the missiles themselves. People who laughed at the idea of prepping now realize they're unprepared for even the first night of the snow. Reality. On social media, hashtags like hashtag WW3 and hashtag Redline start trending within minutes. Videos of air raid sirens, exploding drones, and convoys of tanks flood feeds. Some claim it's propaganda. Others swear it's real. In the fog of war, truth becomes another casualty. Families in America thousands of miles away ask themselves, will this stay in Europe, or will it reach us too? As the first day unfolds, NATO and Russia exchange not just words, but actions. Russian long-range bombers push toward NATO airspace. In response, US and European fighters intercept them, dancing dangerously close to combat. Each side waits. Each commander knows that one wrong move, one accidental trigger pull, could escalate beyond anyone's control. The tension is unbearable. Yet it is only the beginning of 48 hours that will define the fate of billions. As night falls on the first day, the atmosphere across Europe and America is electric with fear. Cities that once glowed with neon lights are eerily dark in places, their power grids disrupted by cyber warfare. Families huddle in basements, listening to distant sounds and waiting for official announcements. In the United States, the president addresses the nation from the Oval Office, his words carefully chosen but heavy with meaning. He declares that NATO will stand united, that aggression will not go unanswered. His tone is firm, Yet viewers can see the tension in his eyes. Round kitchen tables and living rooms, families debate whether to trust the words or to start preparing for the worst. Military bases across Europe and the US roar with activity. Troops who are only training days before are now being mobilized. In Poland, convoys of armored vehicles thunder down highways, their destination undisclosed, but their message clear. In Germany, bunkers long unused are reopened, stocked with emergency supplies. In Britain, submarines quietly leave their harbors under cover of darkness. Every movement is tracked by satellites, every gesture interpreted as a sign of escalation. Meanwhile, Russia broadcasts its own message to its people. The state-controlled media declares that NATO aggression forced their hand. Citizens are told to remain calm, but lines begin forming outside grocery stores and pharmacies anyway. In Moscow, rumors spread that shelters may soon be opened to the public. The uncertainty fuels paranoia. Ordinary Russians, like their Western counterparts, feel the weight of a decision made far above their heads. Hour by hour, the second half of the first day grows more tense. Round the 12th hour mark, the first confirmed skirmishes take place along the eastern NATO border. Reports come in of drones being shot down, of artillery shells landing dangerously close to populated areas. Videos leak online showing explosions in the distance, soldiers moving into defensive positions, and civilians fleeing on foot. None of it is yet full-scale war, but the cracks are widening, and the fear that a dam is about to break spreads everywhere. By the 18th hour, misinformation becomes another weapon. Deepfake videos circulate, showing NATO leaders supposedly admitting to secret plans, while others show Russian generals threatening nuclear strikes. Most are fake, but the speed at which they spread makes truth nearly impossible to confirm. The psychological war is in full swing, and millions begin to lose trust in what they see and hear. As the 24th hour approaches, the first day closes with a chilling realization. No missiles have yet struck major cities. No nuclear weapons have been launched. But the world is already changed. The financial markets crash, wiping out billions in wealth. Flights are grounded. Borders are sealed. Families separated across. Continents find themselves unable to reunite. Hospitals brace for casualties they know are coming. The world collectively holds its breath, waiting for day two. The dawn of the second day brings no relief. Instead, it brings a sharp edge to the fear. NATO confirms that it has moved additional forces to the eastern flank, while Russia declares that any attack on its forces will be met with consequences beyond imagination. Both sides issue statements that sound like warnings but feel like ultimatums. Citizens wake up to empty store shelves and gas stations with mile-long lines. The supply chain has cracked in less than a day, and survival now feels real, not theoretical. In Washington, the Pentagon goes into full war mode. Generals present strike options to the president, limited air raids, targeted cyber counterattacks, or full-scale engagement. Each option carries risk. Each could trigger retaliation that spirals out of control. The president hesitates, knowing history may judge his next words. Meanwhile, European leaders hold frantic video conferences, debating whether to call for immediate negotiations or to prepare for a total war. The unity of NATO, so often questioned, is now being tested in the harshest way possible, on the ground. Civilians face their own second-day realities. In cities near the conflict zone, people continue to evacuate, abandoning homes, jobs, and communities in search of safety. Trains are overloaded, highways jammed, shelters overcrowded. Aid groups scramble to respond, but they too are caught in the chaos. In America, Preppers who spent years preparing find themselves suddenly justified. Neighbors who mocked them now come knocking, asking for food, water, or guidance. The social fabric begins to strain, even in places where bombs have not yet fallen. As the second day reaches its midpoint, a chilling development occurs. Reports emerge that Russian forces have deployed tactical nuclear weapons to border areas, claiming it is for deterrence. NATO intelligence confirms movement, but remains silent publicly, fearing that acknowledging it will cause panic. Behind closed doors, leaders argue about whether to reveal the truth to their populations. In the streets, whispers grow louder. Is this it? Is the end closer than we thought? By the 36th hour, the world feels like it is hanging by a thread. Stock markets remain frozen. Banks shut down international transfers, and ordinary people find their credit cards no longer work. Cash becomes king again, but even that is scarce. Gasoline prices skyrocket, and fights break out at fuel stations. Police forces are overwhelmed, torn between maintaining order and protecting their own families. The illusion of normal life crumbles as survival instincts take over. When the 40th hour strikes, communication networks begin to fracture. Cyber warfare intensifies, cutting off parts of Eastern Europe from the internet. Rumors swirl of sabotage inside Western nations themselves. Some cities report strange power outages, possibly from enemy cyber units, possibly from their own governments shutting systems down to prevent hacking. The line between truth and manipulation blurs further, leaving ordinary people trapped in a fog of uncertainty. The final hours of this 48-hour window are the most terrifying yet. At hour 44, reports surface of a direct confrontation between NATO jets and Russian aircraft. Both sides deny firing first, but wreckage is shown on social media. The world braces for impact. At hour 46, NATO holds an emergency summit, the kind that historians will one day mark as the hinge point of history. Leaders debate whether to retaliate immediately or to attempt one last round of back-channel negotiations. By hour 48, the world is silent with dread. People wake from restless sleep to find their lives still intact, yet nothing feels the same. Whether missiles are about to fly or diplomats will pull back from the edge, no one can say. What is clear is that the red line has been crossed, and humanity stands closer to destruction than it has in generations. The first 48 hours have shaken the foundations of society, and everyone knows the next 48 could determine whether the world recovers or falls into irreversible war.